Alright guys, welcome back to the table. Been a bit, but here's what we got going on. This is the latest boss fight play test I've got going for what I'm still calling Wither, but I'm wavering on the Wither as a title as time goes on. The rules are growing. Taking about, I'm up to about 18 pages now, but we'll get more into all that at the end of this video. I want to focus primarily, in the beginning at least, on the matter at hand, so no worries. We'll take this down. And, well, I guess I could have done that before I started filming, but then you wouldn't have been able to see it. So, lots of this that you see here is what's been going on. Bouncing back and forth from the table to the computer to the table, working on rules, working on this. If I get too bogged down on one thing, I make myself stop and work on another thing. As you can imagine, the rules themselves have changed quite significantly a number of times throughout this endeavor. I had a bit of a down period where I thought I was going to give up, but stuck with it and glad I did. Regain some inspiration, and again, that brings us to more at the end of the video, but this is what I'm trying to focus on here. I will open this and probably lacerate my liver in the process. Anybody ever owned a switchblade or opened a switchblade? I mean, it just gives you a feeling of, like, I don't know. It feels great. Makes you just want to stab something. No, it doesn't make this. Alright, so here we go. Wow, I can't believe how nicely this was packed, and I don't know that I'm familiar with this newfangled city packing y'all folks use up yonder. What is this? Have you ever seen this? Is this something that's been going on for years and I'm unaware of? It looks like it looks like insulation. I guess it's just aerated foam, or is it insulation? I don't know what it is. Interesting. Cat's gonna love it. Thanks. That is, of course, secondary highlight of any of this stuff is always tossing the bits to the cat. Based on the thumbnail of the video, you already know what this is, unless I change my mind and they'll tell you. This thing was released originally in 2005. It's been long out of print. It's not cheap, but I found a acceptable price on eBay, and in fact I did a double take. Because I thought, what's wrong with it? Do they not know what they have? Still a bit more than I would have liked to pay for, but compare and contrast to other prices and things, this was affordable, believe me. So here we are, Lord of the Rings, Mines of Moria. Strategy battle game, which is in this Lord of the Rings, or the Middle-earth strategy battle stuff, is in its second iteration. It's gone through a first edition, a second edition. There's a nice gash there, which probably won't affect anything, but this is the back of the box for those that care. Look at these fine chaps on the back of there, just having loads of fun. Why do we need that? Is that going to convince us we're going to have fun? Whatever. Let's dig right in. Games Workshop, of course. I haven't bought a whole lot from Games Workshop in my years on this earth, but this would be one of the first. They also released a watered down, simplistic version of this recently called Balin's Tomb. And there's tons of videos out there on this stuff for those of you that are interested, and that is awesome. That matches up perfectly with what I already have here. Awesome. Measuring stick. Interesting. But yeah, these are the environmental accessories. We got what's going to be 4 columns is what this will make up. An entrance to the tomb. And some little fun itty bits. We got the tomb itself, which will go here, I believe. Pile of skeleton and bones. I love all that stuff. If I decide to paint this, that would be fun. You know, I do admittedly have a penchant for the gray primer-looking color. I don't know why. It just looks. It looks raw and unfinished in a good way. This is going to be your cave troll, so they got a cave troll. All this will have to be cross sprues and put together. Here's our little goblins. Nice looking goblins. And compare these to the little goblins you get with, this is one of those Wizards of the Coast, Legends of Drizzt dungeon crawl games. These guys are a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter, stouter, and they're just fine, but these guys have way more character and detail. The Fellowship, we've got, ooh, there's Gandalf. You have to glue his arm and staff on. And all the folks, Frodo, and the rest of them. I'm not going to go through all the names. And a ring as like a time track keeper marker. All your bases, which are typical for Games Workshop, this is the style of bases they use, and then the little slit on the character goes in there. I'll go through all of this after I film and make sure everything that is supposed to be here is here. I believe that it is. The person that posted this wasn't sure. They thought it was all here. So here's a little rules manual, and this amounts to 113 pages. Nice Balrog there on the inside cover. Long been a fan of this. Read the trilogy when I was a youngster in high school. Loved it. Sparked a long obsession with Lord of the Rings. It's always kind of been there. But learning things about myself. Again, we're going a different direction, at least for a while with this channel. I don't know that it'll stay this way or what the end result will be or when we're going to loop back into Napoleon or who knows what. But it's fun because it's a learning experience and I'm learning things about myself. And one of the things that I've learned is that in trying to design this basically tabletop role-playing game with her, the theater of the mind stuff, I like it in theory on paper, but in doing it, leaves a bit to be desired. I think I'm more interested in the actual mechanisms, dice rolling things, how that works, and skirmish type battles, tabletop battles. So that led me to a long search of what might scratch that itch, and that is to say in the fantasy realm, which led to the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game stuff. And well, how to go about that, because of course there's 15,000 different things, places to start. But I thought, this was something that I wanted back in the day and never bought, and I thought it'd be a good starting position as far as if I choose to go further down this road. This alone, this Fellowship of the Ring, is like $25. So when you do all the figuring, it was a deal that I got. And the Mines of Moria scenery here, you can buy this separate for like what, $20-25. So got a bit of a deal. That is what we're looking at. And then you have, of course, the Read This First guide. Read this first. What if I don't? What if I read it second? What if I never read it? It will spontaneously combust into flame and burn down your abode. Here's our two fine fellow chaps. Again, seemingly enjoying themselves. I can't be sure about that, but I'll take the picture's word for it. I'm guessing this is getting everything, based on what I'm seeing here, put together, built, and ready. There's a cheeky little one of our friends peeking above the table. How clever. That's very inspirational to see that. Let's see some scenarios. Yes, we're already on scenario 2. The other thing with Balin's Tomb, which came out recently, and again is a watered down reiteration of this, I think with Balin's Tomb, the object is to last without Frodo dying, and I think with this one, could be wrong, mark my mistake in the comments section. You just need, and I say just, you need to keep everybody alive. So that is to say, whereas in Balin's Tomb, Frodo can't die, in this one, any one of the Fellowship cannot die. So it's not just Frodo, everybody's as valuable as Frodo. So there we go. We'll have more on this when it's put together. As you can see, I already have a nice groundwork to work from. I've been using this a lot for, again, playtesting stuff with Wither. And already talked about it, no surprise, these are the infantry-based tiles from, wow, my mind's all over the place. What is it? Not Games Workshop, but Warlord Games. Jesus. And it's on the back. Warlord Games. So, yeah, but probably 3 or 4 packs of these. Been having a lot of fun. I haven't posted quite as many videos because I don't feel like posting something just to post something, because it's been a while. I want to wait till I have something worthwhile to post, which this would be one of those moments. So yeah, that's probably why there's a lack of videos. Again, most of my time has been spent working in front of the computer on Wither, and here's where we'll get to, get to the a little bit more about that. Let me raise the camera. I'm also on autofocus, so that should prove interesting. So there you are. All right, hey guys. Yeah, so banging out the rules for that. I feel like I'm getting better at the rules thing, although it's a slow process, and that is a good thing. If I was to write a book on how to write rules, not that I'm an expert, but just based on experience and what I've learned, rushing through it seems obvious enough, but rushing through it isn't going to get you anywhere. Taking your time allows you to test things. They may have seemed like a good idea at the time, but do they have any longevity as time goes by? Sometimes not. I've had to cut things out and change things accordingly. So yeah, the where I'm at currently, I pretty much have everything banged out with these 18 pages. Where I'm at currently is we have combat pretty much done. I finally came up with a system that I'm fairly satisfied for using magic. It's something that I came up with, although it's hard to do anything original anymore. There may be something out there similar, but as far as the dice mechanism and whatnot, it's something I came up with on my own, so there's that. That's finished. I had wavered back and forth between a solo, single adventurer type deal and multiple adventurers / players. I've gone back to just the single player, and you know, if your heart so desires and you're clever enough, you can easily transform it into multiple players. And that goes a lot for a lot of the things in the game, rather than feeling like it's necessary to put everything in there for you. It's going to be assumed that some of these things can be sussed out on your own. So I did run through, I believe, a battle with the goblins, did I not, in a video? I can't even remember. But that was awesome, that was fun, that worked out. Didn't get quite so far with this guy, which is actually a monster from the Conan Monolith game, which has also piqued my interest when that came out years ago. The thing with this guy with his tentacles would be kind of like as your adventurer tries to take this guy out, you would roll for random placement of tentacles popping up. He kind of literally swims in the floor as if it was liquid, and so there's that. But need to work more on that. But again, I digress. The main thing, the main spot that I'm at currently is with the dungeon itself. So this is a dungeon crawl. That's the whole theme of the deal. But how to present the dungeon, how to make it interesting, how to make it not predictable, how to make it not feel like you're just going through the motions, how to make it feel like it's similar to everything else out there. I've done this before type feeling. Don't know. That's why I'm hung up. And obviously I don't have a whole lot of experience with this stuff to draw from. But I'm aware of my options. So there's obviously the straightforward pre-generated dungeon that you go through. You can follow through on a printout that comes with the rules, the game, and go that route. There's the generate as you go, kind of random generation option. And then there's something that I've just recently started considering, which is more of a narrative-driven dungeon crawl. So think choose your own adventure books, right? But not literally. But you know, as you go through the hallways, the corners, the turns, the non-significant events, right? These can be, I think, modeled in a narrative framework. And then when you do get to key moments, rooms, if you will, the boss fight, etc., that would be then taken out of the narrative and placed onto the table. So then you would be given the specifications as to how big of a grid you would need for that particular room, etc., and how many monsters, etc., etc., etc. That kind of intrigues me. Again, the pre-generated dungeon thing, it I guess it depends on how you do it, but it seems like it would be awful predictable and not much surprise. Now, you could place a smattering of checkpoints right throughout the dungeon, and when you become within line of sight of one of these checkpoints, or when you come in contact with a checkpoint, you can do a random roll or do a chit draw to see what happens, if anything. I guess there's that. But again, it still feels like you know ahead of time more than what you should, right? Because let's put ourselves in his place as he's going through the dungeon. He wouldn't know where he's going. He wouldn't have biases that would draw him in one direction or another. So there's that. And then again, to touch once more on the random generation as you go, maybe, you know, there's pros and cons to that as well. So we'll see. I don't know. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. If I can just decide on what I want to do, then decide how to do it, bang it out, the thing will be ready to polish, right? So that's the last of the hurdles, I think, with Wither. And this is something that I wholeheartedly want to finish, because if I don't take this fantasy angle any further, I want to at least have something significant to show for as far as my going down this rabbit hole, instead of going, oh, well, I messed around with this, I messed around with that, and that's all fine and dandy too, but I would like to have something tangible to look back on, to share with you guys, or whoever is interested in this stuff. There's folks out there, trust me, that just don't watch this channel. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Probably in the next update will be hey, I've got everything together and set up, update, and maybe / run through of one of these scenarios, and or a hardcore rules update / run through to let you guys know where I am with that. And then of course there's any other thing that may arise as my whim carries me thither and thither. So I think that's it. Let me know what you think. Ideas, suggestions, questions, rants, complaints, etc. You know where to post them. Alright guys. We'll talk soon. I promise.